emotions. So thoughts and emotions, mind also thinks in form of pictures, in the form of ideas. Mind also thinks in form of colors and taste and sound and all. Sometimes we get some fragrance and we remember the fragrance of the past. So the impressions of fragrance, impressions of sight and taste and everything is there in our mind. So it just doesn't, it constantly thinks, constantly that impression keeps coming in our mind. It is therefore our Pujya Gurudev calls it a flow of thoughts. It's like a river, constantly flowing. So it is natural for the mind to keep on changing topics. It just doesn't stick to one topic. Therefore, the attention period is very, very low. And like little children, or forget about little children, elderly also people, our attention period is very low. And nowadays, with so much of distraction and more negative influences on the mind, the attention period has still reduced. And because of some wrong habits also. Like on television also, in the good old days, that news also, one lady or someone used to come and for 10 minutes she will keep on speaking. And now and then they will show some photograph here and there. Now that type of news nobody will watch. We want, at the same time, we want lot of things to happen. So person is speaking, then something is scrolling there, something is going, some other person comes in between and dances and goes away. Some time, some this, that, oh, so many things are there. Why? Because our mind cannot remain at one point. So they know that this fellow will not remain, so give him all the entertainment. So it is very difficult. In nature, we find nature is so soft and so smooth and so slow also. A lot of things are slow in nature. But we have lost touch with nature. In the good old days, little children used to play with nature, play with the natural elements and all. So it was easier for them to focus attention on little things, like an ant crawling. It requires a lot of patience to see the ant crawling. But nowadays we might have the computer game of ant crawling, and if the ant crawls very slowly, we don't like it. It should crawl very fast, so that we will keep on shooting arrows at it. Then we climb to the second level. There to 100 ants go in. So like that, it is a fast thing like. So there is mind, ek to it is chanchal, then we are encouraging this chanchalta, and it is very difficult. So we have to understand this one nature. If we can train the mind to experience these slow things or these very smooth things which are happening in our world, just like the sunrise or the flowers which are blooming or something very gracefully moving, or even the river which is flowing gracefully, if we are able to make the mind experience it, the mind will slow down. Therefore, sometimes they say that you keep an aquarium so that you can look at the fish which are moving very slowly. Sometimes the fish also get very excited. So you can look at the fish moving very slowly. So mind also relaxes. In Gujarat and all, they have what we call the hichka, jhula. So when you sit there and just rhythmically move the body, the mind also becomes very slow and soft and quiet. Otherwise, mind by nature is chanchal. That is one. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna. Another is pramathi. Pramathi means turbulent. Mind, when certain thoughts and emotion which comes in the mind, it creates so much of turbulence that even our body moves, start moving, and our senses also becomes restless. Our body as well as our senses become restless because of this turbulence. depending on the type of thought, even one negative thought and it can just move that person tremendously. Anger comes, the whole, you can see the sign on the body. Some greed or some desires come, then the senses also becomes very restless. So that is also another nature of this mind, that it is very turbulent, not very smooth. When it arises, not all thoughts, but certain emotions and certain thoughts can really shake that person like anything. And instantly, it doesn't take much time also. One thought of fear and immediately the heart starts beating like anything. Instantly. So, chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramathi. And balavat. Balavat means it is extremely strong. The mind doesn't depend, the strength of the mind sometimes doesn't depend on the age and all, age factor. Mind is very ancient. Body we have got recently, this body has got its own age, but mind is very ancient. And it is extremely strong. Means if it certain thoughts and certain emotions which comes, they are very strong. You will strong means you won't be able to move that mind from that emotion or that thought. There are people who have certain emotions which they had experienced in their childhood and all. It remains till the end of their life. We don't know about the next life, we carry in the next life also. Certain things about in your childhood, if one has experienced some fear, or if one has experienced some sadness, or whatever, confusion, it carries on till the end. It's very strongly, it holds on to it. So that is the very nature of our mind. It's very, very, very strong. You cannot just give up this. And we try to suppress it, try to fight with the mind, try to torture the mind, but it comes out victorious. It comes out very victorious. It's very, very powerful. Once a mind takes a fancy to certain desires or certain emotion and all, it's very difficult to control that mind. We see the story in the Ramayana and all of Ravan. Just that thought came to his mind about Sita ji and all, it became impossible for him also to control. Even about Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra Rishi was a very powerful Rishi, and he was doing his tapas, but then his mind got distracted and it became difficult for him to control the mind. But again he, with his willpower and effort, again he continued on his path. So this mind is very balavat, balvan, and dhridam means tremendous stamina. It can go on and on and on for years together. It has got tremendous stamina. You cannot say, in my mind will get tired of running after some objects. Mind will become old. Mind will become weak. Nothing like that. Mind has got tremendous staying power, stamina. See, one is strength and another stamina. Strength is also required, but stamina is that staying power. That is also there in the mind. So now, hey Bhagwan, you want me to control this mind? I find it very difficult. Tasyaham nigraham manne vayoriva sudushkaram. It is as difficult as vayu. Vayu is also chanchal. It doesn't remain at one place. The air keeps on moving. It's also pramati. Sometimes the air becomes so turbulent. It carries things with it. It's very strong. And it also has got the staying power. So dhudam tasyaham nigraham manne vayoriva sudushkaram. very difficult to control. Not that it is impossible, but it is very, very difficult to control this mind. So, hey Bhagwan, the whole technique of meditation which you explained to me, it has got something to do with the mind. No doubt we have to transcend the mind, but in the initial stages, we have to quieten the mind. But if not possible, so what can I do? So this is a very genuine question of Arjuna, and we also sometimes feel that yes, that is true. Many times people listen to lectures and all, they appreciate it also, but then they will add the word but. But means that is good, but I cannot follow it. Yeah. See, after saying a good sentence, if you say but, then that you means the whole thing is cut. So that is what generally we do. Oh, Swamiji, it is very nice what you said, but it's not possible. Ghar mein pareshani hai. Our family members are not cooperative. And this I have problem with my work, and this is there and that is there. Therefore, otherwise I would have become a great spiritual giant. But it's very difficult. So when Arjuna said this, but Bhagavan did not get discouraged. Bhagavan says, what you say is right. But for his question, he said, but there is a solution. He says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Asamshayam Mahabaho Mano Durnigraham Chalam Abhyasena tu Kaunteya Vairagyena cha grihyate Asamshayam Mahabaho Mano Durnigraham Chalam. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Bhagavan says that, hey Mahabaho, he says to Arjuna that you are a Mahabaho, a very mighty warrior, and you are talking like this. So indirectly Bhagavan is taunting him like that you are such a great warrior and you can't fight with your mind, you can't conquer your mind. But Bhagavan agrees also with him that yes, asamshayam mahabaho, it is no doubt that mano durnigraham, this mind is very difficult to control. I agree, because it is chalam, it is chanchalam and all. It is very, very restless. Therefore, it is really very difficult to control. I agree with you. So, see here Bhagavan, that is the first thing actually when somebody argues. First, if you agree, certain things which are true, we should agree to it. And then we can also give the right upaya. So here Bhagavan says what you said is true. Mind is chanchal, mind is turbulent, everything is very much true. But there is a solution for it. See, like for example, a train, a mighty train which moves with so much of power and force, so many bogies and with so much of power it moves, carries goods. If suppose somebody tells you that try to stop this train, it is impossible to stop. It can just break everything on the way and go. But only one finger is required to stop the train, not many fingers also. The right place, the right button is there, you just press it and the train, the mighty train stops. That is the critical point. See, there are certain things which are very difficult, but in that there are certain critical points are there. If we know them and if we can control them, we can control a mighty thing also. Like we have elephant, a very mighty and powerful animal, but one requires only a small little arrow-like thing, ankush, and if it is held by the right person and is used rightly, you can control that elephant also. Similarly, the mind might be very, very difficult to control and all, but our great Rishi Munis have studied this mind and they have understood where is the control switch of this mind. If you can use that switch, you can control it at ease, very easily. Just as a fan, if it is moving very, very fast, you can try to control or try to stop the fan by using your brute force. But if you know the switch, you just have to press it and it stops. Similarly, by brute force, if we try to control that mind, it is difficult. It is almost impossible. But there are techniques. And what is the technique? Bhagavan says there are two methods. Twofold method. Both should be done together simultaneously. He says, Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. Hey Kaunteya, hey Arjuna, this mind comes under control by abhyas and by vairagya. Abhyas means practice. That which we continuously, repeatedly do, that is called abhyas. That which is repeated again and again and again, what we do, is called abhyas. And vairagya is dispassion, non-attachment. With this twofold technique, we can control the mind. See, this similar thing is said in Patanjali Yoga Sutra also. Patanjali Rishi was a great master of this mind. He knew about the intricacies of this mind. He has also said that this mind can be controlled through abhyasa and vairagya. Abhyasa vairagyabhyam tan nirodhaha. This mind is quietened by abhyas and vairagya. Patanjali Rishi also gives that eightfold technique: yama, niyam, asan, pranayam, pratyaha, dharana, dhyan and samadhi. If one systematically follows it, one will be able to control the mind. So let us try to understand this abhyas and vairagya. If we look at the mind, we find that mind has got this, it's a continuous flow of thought. And if we observe the mind, we will find that there are certain type of thoughts and certain types of emotions are constantly repeated. You will find that mind is also made up of habit. It keeps on thinking in the same groove, it keeps on thinking in the same way. Every mind, all of us, we have our mind which has got its own habits. Like fingerprints, each one has got its own unique fingerprints. Each one of us, we have our own unique habits of our mind. It moves in that same way, same fashion. So this habit, one is the habits which we carry from our past lives. Those habits of our past lives are what we call our vasanas and all. But there are habits which we cultivate in this lifetime also. They are cultivated right from our childhood, right from the time we were in the mother's womb. So different types of habits are cultivated and the mind thinks in that direction only. So those habits get cultivated by the surrounding in which we are born, like a family, sometimes the parents, our brothers, sisters, our locality, they give rise to that type of habit. A type of food which we eat, type of thoughts which we think, type of uh, ideas which we encourage and all. So they are all habitually created by our upbringing. Also, as I said, we carry the habits of our past lives also. There is a great, was a saint in Maharashtra, Sant Naneshwar Maharaj. He says that even if we have a love for a particular form of God, it is because of our habit of our past life. If in my past life I have worshipped a particular form of God, then in this life also I will naturally develop that affinity for that particular deity. बहुत सुकृतांची जोडी म्हणून विठ्ठली आवडी. So I have done lot of punya in my past, therefore I have developed that love for Vitthala Bhagwan, he says. So this habit of the mind is to go towards worldly objects or towards pleasure. The mind has developed habit to secure itself and to seek pleasure. Habit of artha and kama, self-preservation and pleasure seeking. That is the habit of the mind. Constantly, even if you try to stop it, it will keep on going. Habitually, it keeps on going. For this purpose only. So the one thing to control the mind or to quieten the mind is to create another habit. See, habit cannot be totally wiped out immediately, but we can replace one habit with another. So the best thing to tackle this habit of the mind is to develop a new habit of the mind. So that is done by our regular practice of, let us say, even japa, of chanting some mantra, doing some japa, or doing something regularly every day. Every day we do some puja, or every day we spend some time in reading some text or book, or some chanting some mantra. So every day when it is done, physically, with the help of my speech and using my mind, every day when I do certain things, then slowly, steadily, the mind develops that habit. Then even if you don't do it one day, you will feel restless. It can be anything, like people go for a walk habitually, or they read newspaper habitually. So if one day newspaper doesn't come, that person becomes restless. आज क्या हो गया, न्यूज़पेपर नहीं आ गया, चलो कल का ही दे दो, क्योंकि एक दिन में ज़्यादा कुछ बदला नहीं होगा. Same CWG and same problem. So कल का चलो पढ़ लेते हैं. Yeah, habit. Therefore they say that in that word habit also, if you remove H, a bit remains. You remove A, bit remains. If you remove B, it remains. If you remove I, tea remains. Morning tea. Anyway, so it's very difficult. So we have to replace one habit of, this regular habit of the mind has to be replaced by something else. So it has to be done. Any sadhana which we decide, which is appealing to us, which is conducive to our nature, which is giving great joy to me, that sadhana I should try to do it regularly, continuously. Even if I don't like, you do it. Slowly you will develop liking. The mind will then develop that habit. It is said that, somewhere I read that if one does, even for 21 days, if certain things, if you do it regularly, you may develop a habit. Even here, like you come for pravachan, even with this few days, one develops the habit. If there is no pravachan, अरे आज पता नहीं क्या हो गया, आज प्रवचन नहीं है, habit हो जाती है. Because mind is made like that. So it has to be given a new habit of turning within, habit of thinking of Atma, habit of what you call chanting those verses, those mantras which remind me of my own self, habit of expressing the good values which are there within, expressing them, like helping someone, expressing your compassion, kindness and all. So this, if we practice, that impression gets deeper and deeper into the mind, and when new impression gets created, the old one gets dropped automatically. It might take its own time because we are carrying habits from our past lives. So to develop a new habit and to develop a deep and strong impression of this new habit might take its own time, but we have to continuously do it. That is one thing. Another thing which is very important, that mind not only moves out of habit, but also mind functions based on its understanding. Mind functions based on the deep convictions which we have. If we can change our conviction, immediately the mind drops all those things which it had caught hold of falsely. If our conviction change, our mind also changes. Mind is encouraged or sustained or motivated by our convictions also. So mind is moving towards the world of objects. Mind is moving towards a particular thought, particular idea, because it is convinced that that idea is or that object is real. That object will give me joy. That object is very valuable. Such conviction I have, therefore the mind moves towards it. So if through the study of the scriptures and through deep contemplation, if I can prove to the mind that the world which I am seeing and experiencing is merely an appearance, it's a tougher part. That world which I am experiencing is only an appearance, an illusion. It's not the real thing. What is real is the self, not this world which you are experiencing. If the mind gets convinced, it will lose its intensity of going toward the world. Therefore, many times it happens, actually, a person becomes spiritual, you start reading spiritual books, you start contemplating. Slowly and steadily you start experiencing the illusoriness of this world. May not be able to experience in the highest state, but even in the beginning we start experiencing the flimsiness of this world, or at least flimsiness of so many of our activities. You might lose interest in a lot of your activities. Your friends and all will be complaining. Ajkal you are not coming for parties. What happened? In the evening and all we used to go and have fun, and nowadays you are missing. I called home so many times, they say, नहीं वो पता नहीं कहाँ गई है चिन्मय मिशन में. So, in the good old days, every new movie used to come, you used to run. Every new restaurant, whoever opens, you used to go there to check out. Everything, new things in the market, you used to go and buy. But nowadays, you lose interest in that. Why? Because they no longer have attraction. Why? Because they no longer hold that value in your mind. They are all flimsy. See, this one may experience for temporarily, if one may not have the deep vairagya. This is experienced temporarily when there is some death in the family or some loss in the business. Person gains that vairagya. And that vairagya comes, that person loses interest in even those things which used to give joy. Suppose there is death in